the story of Saul and David. This is basically the end of Saul and David being anointed as king. Right? You know what happened with Saul and David? Saul was the guy who Samuel had anointed and says, you're going to be king, you're good looking, you're tall, everybody likes you, everybody thinks you're great, you're going to be king over Israel. But then Saul got this distress spirit. He ended up worrying and stressing when this wee boy David came on the scene, because David, people were singing about David already, although he wasn't king, saying, he slayed tens of thousands, and Saul only slayed thousands. And Saul let that jealousy and that covetousness become worry and stress, and it talks about him having a distressed spirit. And what I'm saying here is that in this 1 Chronicles 10, what happens is Saul is being chased with his sons, and he's being chased by the Philistines. The Philistines gather around him and they slaughter his sons. And Saul sees that his family is dead and becomes distressed. He sees that these uncircumcised Philistines have got him. And so what he does is he turns to his armour bearer, the guy that carries all the stuff, and he says, kill me. The armour bearer says, I'm not killing you. And he goes, right. So he puts his sword down and he throws himself on the sword. In other words, he commits suicide based on the surroundings of what he's seeing. He sees the stress, he sees the worry, he feels the fear. And so that fear and that thought process causes Saul to kill himself. It's no different than people who are tormented in the mind. And that is a very real thing, being stressed and tormented to the point that you want to do that. And this happened to Saul, and Saul killed himself. And then you have David. So Saul kills himself. They end up coming in and after, and they decapitate his body. And then it goes on to David. And David was surrounded by his guys. His guys were mighty men. That's what the Bible calls them. Mighty men. Right? Men of strength, men of valor, men who, if you looked at like the Spartans in 300, men like that, right? All six-pack chiseled, fake beard. Anyway, all these guys were mighty men. And I'm going to read a little bit here. I'm going to read from verse 15. Now, three of the 30 chief men went down to the rock to David and the cave of Adullam, and the army of the Philistines encamped in the valley of Rephaim. David was then in the stronghold, and the garrison of the Philistines was then in Bethlehem. And David said with longing, "Oh, that someone would give me a drink of water from the well of Bethlehem, which is by the gate." So 3 of these mighty men broke through the camp of the Philistines, drew water from the well of Bethlehem that was by the gate, and took it and brought it to David. Nevertheless, David would not drink it, but poured it out before the Lord. So what you have here is David sitting in a stronghold. You have his 3 guys, these 3 mighty men who are afraid of no one, step out and go to the place where the enemy is encamped, just for a drink of water, lift the water, haven't been seen by anybody, and bring it back to David. So you have this guy Saul, the king Saul, who is distressed to the point because he sees all of the stresses and all of the things around him. He sees all of the problems that life is throwing at him, and he kills himself. And then you have the mighty men of David, who see the encamped surroundings of the enemy. They see them sitting there at Bethlehem, and they look at them and they say, we're not afraid of you. And they just walk in, lift the water, and walk back and say, here you go, David. There's something different in the way they look at it. There's something different in the way they see it. If you throw up John for me there. In John 14, verse 27, it explains what peace is. You see, what I'm saying to you is when you're not controlling where you're walking and you're just letting your mind wander, the devil will end up capturing your mind and leading you down a path that has been established through your whole life, the way you've worried and stressed over your family, friends, finances, health, whatever it is, and he'll lead you to that stronghold that he's built up. But then there's a peace that is contrary to that. This is Jesus speaking, and he says, "Peace I leave with you. My peace I give to you. Not as the world gives do I give to you. Let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid."